Hello, I'm Brian Tracy. Over the decades, I've had the privilege of speaking with hundreds of thousands of people, from ambitious young entrepreneurs to seasoned executives in the world's top corporations. In all those conversations, through all those seminars, I've noticed a common, quiet struggle that often goes unspoken. It's the feeling of being utterly alone on your journey, the sense that your dreams are so personal, so unique, that no one else can truly grasp their weight or their importance. Have you ever felt that way? As if you're forging a path through a dense forest with no map and no companions, wondering if the solitary effort is a sign of strength or a sign you're completely lost. What if I told you that this very feeling of isolation, the one you may be trying to escape, is not a curse but a prerequisite for extraordinary achievement? The truth is, the foundation of all great success is not built by committee, nor is it propped up by the constant applause of others. It is forged in the quiet, demanding crucible of self-reliance. You must learn to fight alone, not because the world is against you, but because the greatest battles, for your focus, your discipline, and your belief in yourself, are fought within. Learning to win these internal battles is the only way to build a character strong enough to win in the external world. We live in a world that conditions us to seek consensus. From a young age, we are taught to look for approval from our parents, our teachers, and our peers. This carries into adulthood, where we seek validation from our bosses, our partners, and our social circles. This desire for external validation is a natural human instinct, but it becomes a tremendous liability when your ambition is to rise above the average. The moment you decide to pursue a goal that is bigger than what those around you are pursuing, you will inevitably find yourself walking a path they do not understand. Their lack of understanding is not born of malice. For most people, your ambition is a mirror reflecting their own compromises and fears. When they tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, or to question your path, they are often just voicing their own internal narrative of limitation. If you make their approval the fuel for your journey, your engine will stall the moment they express doubt. Your progress will become hostage to their comfort zones, and you will find yourself shrinking your dreams to fit their expectations, which is a tragedy of untapped potential. The great illusion sold to us is that success is a team sport from day one. While collaboration is vital at certain stages, the initial foundational work of building yourself and your vision is a solitary endeavor. Think of a master sculptor. Before he can lead a team of apprentices, he must first spend countless hours alone in his studio, learning the feel of the stone, the precision of the chisel, and the vision in his mind's eye. He must wrestle with the raw material, facing his own doubts and imperfections in the silence of his workshop. The masterpiece is conceived and largely shaped in solitude before it is ever presented to the world for applause. Your life's work is no different. Your character, your skills, and your core convictions are the raw material. The process of shaping them requires you to step away from the noise of external opinions. It demands that you become your own source of motivation, your own quality control inspector, and your own toughest coach. Relying on others to provide this for you is like a sculptor waiting for a passerby to tell him where to strike the stone. It's an abdication of the very responsibility that defines a creator, and make no mistake, you are the creator of your life. So, the first and most critical step is to make a conscious decision to shift your locus of control from external to internal. Your locus of control is simply your belief about where power resides in your life. People with an external locus of control believe their lives are shaped by luck, fate, and other people. They feel like victims of circumstance. In contrast, top performers in every field possess a powerful internal locus of control. They believe that they are the primary architects of their own lives, that their actions, their thoughts, and their discipline determine their outcomes. This shift isn't just a mental trick. It's a fundamental reprogramming of your entire operating system. It's the moment you stop saying, "I wish someone would help me," and start asking, "What must I do right now with what I have?" It's the moment you stop blaming the economy, your boss, or your background, and accept what I call 100% responsibility for your life. This is the starting point of all personal power. It's where the fight truly begins, not against others, but against your own old habits of dependency and blame. Let me tell you about a young man I worked with years ago. We'll call him David. David had a brilliant idea for a software company that would streamline logistics for small businesses. He was passionate, intelligent, and had a clear vision, but he was paralyzed. Every time he made a little progress on his business plan, he would show it to his family, His father, a cautious man who had worked the same stable job for 40 years, would point out all the risks. His friends, who were all pursuing traditional career paths, would joke about his little project and ask when he was going to get a real job. David's confidence was a leaky bucket, and their doubts were widening the holes. He came to one of my seminars feeling completely defeated, on the verge of giving up. He told me, "Brian, they just don't get it. How can I build this if the people closest to me think I'm crazy?" I looked at him and said, "David, you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't, how can you build this without their approval? The question is, how could you possibly build something of value if it required the approval of people who don't share your vision?" I explained to him that he was seeking validation from the wrong source. His family and friends loved him, but they were not his target market. They were not the ones who would use his software. Their approval was irrelevant to the success of his business. The only approval he needed was from his future customers and, more importantly, from himself. He had to learn to trust his own research, his own instincts, and his own work ethic. He had to be willing to fight for his vision, alone. It was a difficult transition for him. The habit of seeking approval was deeply ingrained, but he made a pact with himself. For 90 days, he would not discuss his business with anyone who wasn't a potential mentor, investor, or customer. He put his head down and worked. He built a prototype. He started making cold calls to small business owners, getting feedback, and refining his product. He faced rejection after rejection, but each no was data, not a personal indictment. For the first time, he was fighting alone, fueled by his own purpose, not the opinions of others. 6 months later, he secured his first paying client. Today, his company is a thriving multi-million-dollar enterprise. David learned the most valuable lesson of his career. The silence of the doubters is a space where real work gets done. This journey from dependence to self-reliance is built on a foundation of unwavering clarity. You cannot fight for a vague wish or fuzzy desire. You must know, with absolute precision, what you are fighting for. This is why goal setting is not just a motivational exercise. It is the most critical strategic activity of your life. A person without clear, written goals is like a ship without a rudder, drifting at the mercy of the currents. But a person with clear, written goals is like a ship with a rudder and a destination, capable of navigating through any storm. Your goals become your companions in solitude. When you feel discouraged, you review your goals. When you are tempted by distraction, you review your goals. When the world tells you that you are aiming too high, you look at your written goals and they remind you of the commitment you made to yourself. They are your North Star, a fixed point in a spinning world. This is why I have always taught that you must write down your goals in detail and review them every single day. This daily ritual reinforces your purpose and strengthens your resolve, creating an internal guidance system that is far more reliable than the shifting winds of public opinion. For instance, if your goal is to achieve financial independence, don't just leave it at that. That's a wish. A goal is specific. I will have a net worth of $1 million by December 31st, 2030. It's measurable. It has a deadline. Now, you can break it down. How much do you need to save and invest each month? What skills do you need to acquire to increase your income to that level? What assets do you need to accumulate? Suddenly, this giant, intimidating fight is broken down into a series of manageable daily battles. Your focus shifts from the enormity of the task to the immediate action step right in front of you. This is how you fight alone successfully, one clear, deliberate action at a time. Once you have clarity of purpose, the next pillar of solitary strength is a discipline of self-reliance. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and their accomplishment. It is the engine that drives you forward when inspiration fades, which it inevitably will. The world loves to romanticize a flash of genius, the overnight success. But I can tell you from observing thousands of successful people that their success was not born of a single moment of brilliance, but from thousands of moments of undramatic, consistent discipline. Discipline is doing what you know you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. When you are fighting alone, there is no one standing over your shoulder to make sure you do the work. There is no boss to check your progress, no coach to make you run the extra lap. You must be your own drill sergeant. You must cultivate the habit of keeping the promises you make to yourself. If you decide you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. to work on your most important task, you do it. If you commit to reading for 1 hour every day to build your knowledge, you do it. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-esteem and self-respect. You are, in effect, casting a vote for the person you want to become. Each act of discipline, no matter how small, sends a message to your subconscious mind. I am in control. I am reliable. I am a person who follows through. Conversely, every time you break a promise to yourself, you erode that self-trust. You teach yourself that your own commitments are not important. This is why so many people feel powerless. They have a long history of letting themselves down. A concrete example of this is what I call the golden hour. This is a practice of dedicating the first hour of your day to your own personal development and your most important goal before you engage with the rest of the world. Before you check your email, before you look at the news, before you react to anyone else's agenda, you proactively work on your own. This single habit, practiced consistently, can revolutionize your life. It is a daily declaration that your agenda comes first. It is a training ground for the discipline required to fight and win your own battles throughout the day, every day. This discipline must extend beyond your work to mastering your inner dialogue. The most persistent voice you will ever hear is the one inside your own head. For many people, this voice is their harshest critic. It's the voice of doubt, fear, and limitation. It constantly replays past failures and magnifies future risks. If you allow this negative inner talk to go unchecked, it will sabotage your efforts far more effectively than any external critic ever could. Learning to fight alone means learning to manage and direct this inner conversation. You must become your own greatest cheerleader. This isn't about delusional positivity. It's about constructive, rational self-talk. When you face a setback, instead of letting your inner critic say, "You're a failure," you must consciously intervene and have your inner coach say, "Okay, that approach didn't work. What did we learn from this? What can we do differently next time?" This is a learning experience, not a life sentence. This is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. One of the most powerful techniques for this is the use of affirmations. An affirmation is a positive, present tense statement that you repeat to yourself until it is accepted by your subconscious mind. Statements like, "I am disciplined and focused," "I am a top performer in my field," or "I am calm, confident, and in complete control of my life." When you begin, these may feel awkward or untrue, but with repetition, especially when combined with emotion, your subconscious mind begins to accept them as commands. It will then work to align your thoughts, actions, and even your perception of reality with these new beliefs. You are literally reprogramming your mind for success, building an internal ally that supports you 24 hours a day. Consider a public speaker. Before they become confident on stage, they face immense fear. Their inner critic is screaming about all the things that could go wrong. A successful speaker learns to fight this. They visualize a successful presentation. They affirm to themselves, "I am a powerful and persuasive speaker. I connect with my audience and deliver immense value." They do this over and over until the voice of confidence becomes louder than the voice of fear. They have won the internal battle before ever stepping on the stage. This is a fight you must wage every single day. Furthermore, a crucial part of fighting alone is learning to reframe your relationship with failure. People who depend on external validation are terrified of failure because they see it as a public judgment on their worth. But when you are fighting for your own purpose, accountable only to yourself, failure ceases to be a monster. It becomes what it truly is: feedback. It is simply data. It is a world telling you that your current approach is not producing the desired result. That is all. Top achievers are not people who never fail. They are people who fail more often than others. They try more things. They experiment more. They take more calculated risks. The difference is that they do not take failure personally. They extract a lesson, adjust their course, and immediately get back in the game. They have developed a high degree of resilience, which is the ability to bounce back quickly from adversity. This resilience is a muscle, and it is built only through experiencing and overcoming setbacks. Think of it like a scientist running an experiment. If an experiment fails to produce the expected outcome, the scientist doesn't throw their hands up and declare themselves a worthless human being. They don't take it personally. They meticulously document the results, analyze what went wrong, form a new hypothesis, and run a new experiment. This detached, analytical approach to setbacks is precisely the mindset you must cultivate. Each failure on your journey is simply one more experiment that brings you closer to the formula that works. This mindset transforms a lonely struggle from a painful ordeal into an exciting process of discovery. This brings me to a memory from my own early years. Before I had achieved any significant success, I decided to drive overland from Europe to South Africa. It was a long, arduous journey through deserts and unfamiliar territories. For long stretches, I was completely on my own. My vehicle broke down in the middle of the Sahara Desert, hundreds of miles from the nearest town. There was no one to call, no roadside assistance. It was just me, the blistering sun, and a broken-down Land Rover. In that moment, panic was a very real option. The voice of fear was loud, but I knew that panic was a luxury I couldn't afford. My survival depended entirely on my ability to think clearly and act decisively. I had a basic mechanic's manual and a small toolkit. I had to become my own mechanic. I spent hours working on the engine, covered in grease and sweat, trying to diagnose a problem I barely understood. I had to suppress the feelings of hopelessness and focus, step by step, on the problem in front of me. I had to rely on my own ingenuity, my own persistence, and my own will to keep going. After what felt like an eternity, I found the problem, a clogged fuel line. I managed to clear it, and with a sputter and a roar, the engine came back to life. The feeling of relief was immense, but it was overshadowed by a deeper, more profound realization. I had faced a significant crisis entirely on my own and had overcome it. I hadn't needed a savior. I had saved myself. That experience, in the heart of the Sahara, taught me more about self-reliance than any book ever could. It forged a deep-seated confidence in my ability to handle adversity, a confidence that has served me in every business venture and personal challenge since. The greatest strength is not the absence of problems. It is the knowledge that you can solve them. This journey of fighting alone is ultimately the process of forging your character. Character is the sum total of your habits, your attitudes, and your values. It's who you are in the dark when no one is watching. The person who has learned to fight alone develops a unique and powerful set of character traits. They develop integrity because their word to themselves is their bond. They develop courage because they have faced their fears and acted in spite of them. They develop an unshakable resilience because they have learned that setbacks are temporary and surmountable. This process is not about becoming a hermit or rejecting all human connection. That's a common misunderstanding. The goal of fighting alone is not to remain alone forever. The goal is to build a core of inner strength so solid that you can engage with the world from a position of power and contribution, not from a position of neediness and dependence. When you no longer need others to validate you, you are free to connect with them authentically. Your relationships become richer because they are based on choice, not on a desperate need for approval. A person who has built their own foundation becomes a pillar of strength for others. They become the natural leader, the calm voice in a crisis, the one people turn to for guidance, not because they are loud or demanding, but because they radiate a quiet confidence that comes only from having won their own internal wars. They don't offer platitudes. They offer wisdom forged in the fire of solitary effort. They can genuinely help others because they have first done the hard work of helping themselves. This is the ultimate paradox. By learning to fight and stand alone, you become the very person that others want to stand with. You attract other high-quality, self-reliant individuals. Your circle of influence expands, not because you sought to please a crowd, but because you committed to the lonely work of becoming a person of substance and value. Your solitary fight prepares you for a higher level of collaboration and leadership, one built on mutual respect among equals, not on the fragile dynamics of dependency. So as you move forward from this day, I want you to reconsider your relationship with solitude. See it not as a void, but as a space for creation. When you feel that sense of being misunderstood, don't see it as a sign that you are wrong, but as a sign that you are on a unique path, a path that requires your unique strength. Embrace the quiet hours, the moments of doubt that you must overcome by yourself, and the discipline required to show up when no one is there to applaud you. These are not punishments, they are your training ground. This is where your real power is being forged. It's in the decision to read one more chapter when you're tired. It's in the courage to make one more sales call after 5 rejections. It's in the integrity to stick to your diet when no one is there to see you eat the cake. It's in the discipline to sit down and write one more page of your book when the house is silent. Each of these small, solitary victories builds upon the last, creating momentum that eventually becomes an unstoppable force. The world is filled with people waiting for permission to be great. They are waiting for the perfect conditions, for the right support system, for someone to discover them and give them a chance. They are waiting for a savior. The hard truth, and the most liberating truth you will ever embrace, is that no one is coming to save you. You are the hero of your own story. The responsibility and the incredible opportunity rests squarely on your shoulders. This path of fighting alone is not the easy path. It is the path of greater resistance, and that is precisely why it builds greater strength. It demands more from you than any other path. It demands your honesty, your courage, and your unwavering commitment. But the rewards are beyond measure. The prize is not just the achievement of your external goals. It is the person you become in the process. You earn a form of self-respect and self-confidence that no one can ever take away from you. So, let me summarize the core of our discussion. The journey to exceptional achievement is, by its very nature, a solitary one at its core. You must consciously shift from seeking external validation to cultivating an internal locus of control, accepting 100% responsibility for your life. You must fight with the weapons of absolute clarity on your goals, unwavering discipline in your daily habits, and mastery over your own inner dialogue. You must learn to reframe failure as feedback and use adversity as a very fuel that forges your character. This is not a message of cynicism or isolation. It is a message of ultimate empowerment. It is a recognition that the greatest resources you will ever have are your own mind, your own will, and your own character. By learning to fight for yourself, by yourself, you build a foundation of strength that makes you an asset to everyone around you and allows you to achieve things you once thought were impossible. If this message has resonated with you today, if you feel that you are on this path of the solitary fighter right now, I encourage you to acknowledge your own strength. Let me know in the comments below what battle you are fighting for. Your story might just be the inspiration someone else needs to see today. And if you found value in these principles, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more content on personal and professional achievement, and share it with someone who you believe has a heart of a fighter. Remember this. The applause of the crowd is fleeting and fickle, but the respect you earn from yourself through disciplined, solitary effort is eternal. The world rewards those who have first rewarded themselves with the discipline to stand alone. Now, go and earn